first-year head coach. We have 8 returners, but the newest head coach to the America East and the women's basketball front, John Plefka at UMass Lowell, is now joining us here at America East Women's Basketball Media Day, brought to you by the Field of 68. John, good to see you. Hope everything's well. Hope you're adjusting to life in Lowell. Lowell is my hometown. I grew up in Lowell, so I went to Lowell High School. And one thing I will say, when I do go home to visit mom and dad and see family, that the construction by the university does still drive me kind of crazy, but it looks beautiful. They're doing a great job with it. So
They are.
how's it going in Lowell, Mass for you?
It's going very well. On Long Island last year, I come back and all of a sudden the Patriots are 5-2. I think it's a phenomenal change. Maybe I'm the good luck charm. But no, it's going really, really well here. There's so much innovation here at UMass Lowell, and as you mentioned, with the new construction and how upwards our athletic department is going, it's just a great spot right now, and we couldn't be more excited for the future here at UMass Lowell.
It's nice to meet you, John. Congratulations.
Likewise.
I don't know you personally, but I know Coach Kuntz over at Post on the men's side speaks really highly of you, and what an incredible job you did there at Post turning the program around. So just, looking at your team and kind of where you're at right now, a lot of similarities between when you took over at Post to UMass Lowell.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, a lot of differences. I think our cupboard is a little bit more full here than when I started at Post. Especially with our returners, we have some really top-notch returners that have had success in our league. Of course, not on the win-losses side, but that happens. But Maddie Rice has been a phenomenal returner for us. Be a junior this year and just leads by example day in and day out. Jenna Johnson, who last year was a freshman here, has shown a lot as well from summer and on to here in the preseason and end season. So it's been a great adjustment, very pleased with our returners for sure. And of course, our newcomers that we brought in, 7 of all diverse backgrounds, levels, you name it. So we're just excited to hit the ground running here on the 3rd.
John, when you're year one, you've got 8 returning players, as you hit on. What can you take us through what your approach was to connect with them, to stay on board, and why you could be the person to not just guide them individually for their own aspirations to get a degree and whatnot, but also just I can be your coach and we can get this thing on track, and we can connect and be a special group. How did you go about that?
Correct. I think the biggest thing was being as present as possible when I was here early before school finished. So I started, I believe it was May 5th, so the last week of exams. So thankfully, I got to see the entire team, the returners, that is, at that point. So having meetings at that point as well, and really having an open door policy has been great. I've always had that everywhere I've been, but creating those relationships that way was very, very important. But also the vision that I had, in the interview process, and, they were bought in, which is fantastic. And, not every player is going to be 100% bought in. I always say, meet me 50-50, and then we'll grow from that point, and we'll earn each other's respect from that point. So the vision that, I have for our program, I've had some success in the past as well at programs taking over. So they know it's been done before at this level. No, but, that's what I was preaching. And I was preaching the word hope as well. We can all go through times of adversity and success that we've had or didn't have, but the hope of a clean slate, the hope of a new beginning, but the hope of really having a championship caliber program is something that we've been stressing as a staff, and I stressed from day one. So, they're there, they're bought in, they're excited, they're confident. And I think too, it's one thing to really praise the past coaching staff. It's very difficult to not be here anymore. That's the way of this business, but the returners, they learned a lot from that coaching staff. And once again, we're thankful to have the players that are here with us, and of course the newcomers that we brought in, starting in May, when the portal was not as hot as it was in March.
Hey, it doesn't hurt to meet all the student athletes when the exams are over. Good
Right.
timing on your part, right? They're all in good moods.
Fantastic, right?
Exams are
They were
over. Hey,
thrilled.
nice to meet you. How you doing?
Hey, you're a great guy. This is great. Everything is fantastic. No, it was the perfect time. And they're like, we're going home. I was like, oh, best of both worlds, you know? So,
Yeah.
but no, it was an awesome time. It was an awesome time around here as well with graduation and such. So, yeah, couldn't help but thank the timing on that.
And obviously, you're familiar with the America East,
Hmm.
working at Stony Brook, being in Post in New England. But what are your, first thoughts about the conference overall? The strengths of the conference. What kind of things do you think over the next couple months in order to make you guys successful? Just your first impressions of the league.
Right. Extremely tough. I think that's something watching film of, Vermont, Maine, Bryant, NJIT, and it goes on, New Hampshire. I mean, they're phenomenal teams. I think for us to stack up, it's kind of what our identity is on offense and defense. And I say special teams like we're football. But those little things matter, those 50-50 balls. And, the baseline out of bounds is a sideline out of bounds, the presses, you name it. So, there's a lot of talent within this league, a lot of established programs that, we're learning day by day about. And, I've been, hearing many of our coaches on prior to me, they have teams that have been established for years and years. And those freshmen are turning into seniors that are really huge parts, and they're giving them the success that they have. So we're excited about how we're going to fit with our style, but also with the players that we brought in. I think we have a really versatile group of players that have experience within this league. Those that have experience in other leagues at the Division I level, but also we brought back Janai Edmonds, who played here a couple years back. So another key piece to our puzzle that knows the conference, knows what it is day in and day out. And, just excited once again to get on that floor and see how we do.
So unique to get a player that started at one place and then eventually return. That's a cool dynamic, and that's exciting to get like you said, a clean slate, kind of start fresh again back in Lowell. We gotta ask you about this. I'm sure you've been asked about it before. You played for Bobby Knight, going back now in your playing days. So I'm curious, as a former player of Coach Knight, did you want to get into coaching because he inspired you about his approach, or did you say, man, it was tough playing for that guy, I want to coach one day so I can do it my way?
I think it was all the above. I think, I was so blessed to have that opportunity to play for him in his last 2 years coaching. So was a part of his final NCAA tournament team, which was great, even though we were the 11:30 a.m. team and we were done before anyone else played. But that's neither here nor there. And funny thing was that Coach Duke, our men's coach here, he was at Boston College at that point. So it was kind of a small world where my career ended. I was like, oh, you're here and now you're here now. So, but no, I learned so much from him, especially the preparation side. I think the media has portrayed him in every which way possible, but how he prepares and he prepares us is something that has really helped me in this journey as a coach. And we were never the most talented teams. We didn't have all Americans. We knew what we were good at and we accepted our roles. And I think that's something that was really, really important. So to do that, to, play man-to-man aggressively, and also to run the 3-out, 2-in motion, which is pretty much extinct now, was something that really guided me, on this coaching journey. But it's always been a love of mine as well. I worked my way up from being a volunteer high school coach and really worked to being a JV coach in my alma mater, then coaching at Post on the assistant side, and working my way through. So he's been a big inspiration to me coaching wise. His style is a little bit different than mine, even though my voice does project because I'm 6'8". But couldn't thank him enough, and for all he's done, especially that staff as well. And it's really prepared me for who I am today.
Very cool.
So, and congrats! I read that you and your wife welcomed twins.
Yes.
Recently, not too long ago. How old are they now?
13 months. Yeah. So Lola and Luca. Lola was for my grandmother, so that was an easy name. Luca took to the like 23rd hour of the last day before we left. So we had so many names. Of course we had Brady because New England and Tom Brady, but like, maybe this doesn't fit. And then, really outside the box was like Xander because of Xander Bogaerts to that. We were like, wow. And then we left, on Luca, and you're like, Luca. My wife's, 100% Italian. So it's just like, oh, should we do Luca? But then the Plefka doesn't work well. So we went to Luka. So everyone thinks Luka Doncic, and we're like, well, he's not too bad. So I was like, hey, this
pretty
works really well for us.
Okay.
So, but no, 13 months old,
awesome.
they're growing like weeds, and starting a little bit later in our lives too. It's our first children, so we're so thankful. And one thing is for sure, Coach Mo, with your children as well. Everyone said they're like, oh, they grow up so quickly, and when you don't have children, you're like, you guys are full of it. I don't believe it, and now you're like, wow, they really are growing so quickly. So, but we're so thankful, so excited. And of course, to be back in New England is something that, we're even more blessed to be a part of.
So exciting.
Cool.
Congratulations. And to have the players, I just think your kids are going to be so lucky to grow up.
Yes.
That was just something I was very blessed when my dad was a men's coach growing up. And then my kids, that's all that they knew, okay, what are we doing today? Going to the gym. So, it's like they learned to walk in the gym. They learned to read in the gym. They learned that, how to do everything. So
Correct.
That's really, and for your players too, I think it's just an incredible experience for them to help raise them. So congratulations. Course, I saw that. I was like, oh, that's so fun. He has twins. I love that. I don't have twins, but.
Thank you so much. No, one, we're like, hey, and that was, when we were down in Alabama first, and we're just like, two? They're like, yeah, we see twins all the time down here. And we're like, we maybe had an expletive in there because we were so shocked, and but we're so thankful. And, one boy, one girl, we're just like, wow, this is the best of both worlds. So, we couldn't be happier where we're at.
All right, good stuff. Coach John Plefka, newest head coach to the America East. You're all in on the Patriots. I like to hear that. They're off to a great start. You're from Harvard, Mass. Is that correct?
So my wife is from Harvard. I'm from New Britain, Connecticut originally. Yes. So she's right down the road. Family grew up there. So so an easy transition here.
Okay. So I know Connecticut's got good pizza, but you got to go to Supa's. Have you been to Supa's Pizza yet?
We have not. Yeah. No, Supa's. Okay.
Right down. It's right near campus. Supa's Pizza.
Okay. Supa's. We'll try it out.
Right off Mammoth Road. You'll see.
Okay. We've tried. Joni's here is the hotbed because Joni's had on One Bite by Dave Portnoy. So everyone said go to Joni's. So we've tried that. We buy into the social media effect as well too. But no, we'll definitely try that one as well. We love our pizza. Soup.
Have to try it. Yeah, they have and there's a big chicken thing they have there too. I grew up in Lowell. Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
You got to go try it.
All right.
Supa's.
You give me some places to go and we'll go check them out.
Okay. All right, Coach. Thanks for stopping by. Best of luck here as UMass Lowell women's basketball has a clean slate and set to try to get some wins this year. So thanks, Coach, for the time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Congratulations again.
Good stuff.